Hi, it's Pete May, President of GreenBiz Group. I'm here with Viviana Alvarez, who is the new Director of Sustainability for North America for Unilever. Did I get the title right?
Yes.
Yeah, congratulations. That's relatively new. Yeah, that's great. And here today to talk about Unilever as a company through what it's done in the past and tremendous practices. Paul Pullman, a demonstrable leader in the space. I'm going to talk to you about what's new and exciting for you now in what's coming in sustainability in North America. So tell me, first of all, your background. You worked for Unilever in other parts of the empire, right? And tell us a little bit about what brought you here to your new role in North America.
So I've been with the company for about 13 years. Different positions. My background is on supply chain, customer development. I lead a little bit of internal strategy and operations, sort of a consultancy profile. I then had the privilege to be for a while in London, working very closely with our leadership team. And I joined the North America business a year ago, working also in strategy, and now was a natural transition to what is my sweet spot and my perfect area of the business, which is the circular economy integration.
Yeah.
So to your previous comment, is not that it's anything new on sustainability. We've been on the journey for quite some years already.
Right.
It's more on how do we integrate in a much more embedded way across the organization. Yeah,
interesting. And that's for us. We're launching our circularity event this year in Minneapolis in June, and it's we're very excited about what we're seeing in circular. The market drivers around the circular economy, big companies moving, the need to move quickly on plastic. So we're very excited about that. Talk a little bit about what circular economy means for Unilever.
So I think, as a company, as an industry, we've already reached the tipping point to really going into much systemic changes and more, reusable, compostable, sustainable solutions across our value chain, being plastic a key priority because of our core business, material. So we are, aside of the already published targets that we have, what we're trying to do is stretch those in North America, being one of the biggest markets of both production and consumption of plastic, and arguably where we have a fascinating opportunity to innovate and to be a more, louder leader in the industry, especially in the US, where there's so much room of opportunity. Yeah,
well, maybe I'll stop you there. Compare and contrast a little bit, because Europe has been on, I think, the circular journey earlier than North America. Compare and contrast what you're seeing in the circular economy, Europe and North America.
So, when I look at with the global lenses, you have the most challenging part of the infrastructure in Asia, where, given infrastructure, you have the biggest burning issue. In Europe, where we are seeing is a much more accelerated consumer activism, retailer activism that is driving the bigger change. Where I think in the US we have a big opportunity is in, proactively reacting to those trends that we know are coming, should have come in a while ago, because it's an industry responsibility. So it's from the US lenses, it's a dual thing, because it's how can we drive from a leadership perspective in the private sector, but how can we also educate the consumer, who is still a little bit disconnected from the sentiment that there is in Europe, that is much more regulated, that by default is more progressive in this type of environmental sense of urgency.
Yeah, and we were talking earlier about this activist. You talked a little bit about the activist consumer in Europe and contrasting that with North America. Elaborate a little bit on that.
So in Europe, you wake up and you all of a sudden have retailers saying, I want my aisle plastic free, right? So all of a sudden you have a disruption, not just from your, consumers demanding more transparency on the value chain, but also your retailers forcing a bigger change. Arguably, with our colleagues in NGOs that, rightly so challenge us to be better, to be more transparent, and to, work in not just in the short-term solutions, but in the longer term on how do we get from the core, how do we arrive to solutions that are more sustainable? I know the word sustainability, depending to so many people, means a different thing, but I think in this case does apply, what are the sustainable solutions for our packaging and waste.
Yeah.
It's obviously not just about plastic. It's the whole thing about the waste.
Yeah. So last question, a couple years from now, you're successful, you and Unilever in North America are successful with the circular economy agenda. What does that look like? What have you accomplished?
For me, success is SDG number 17, that's my favorite,
Okay.
which is driving our partners to do it together. For me, it's the coalition of the industry for the bigger changes that we have to do together. This is not just a Unilever thing. I would love to see us leading the way,
Right.
Amplifying known practices we've done in other areas of the world.
Yeah.
But for me, success is not just Unilever, others, and us moving things forward.
That's great. And this morning here I mentioned these themes of scale and collaboration, big themes for us at GreenBiz, and sounds like the same themes for you. Thanks so much, Viviana Alvarez. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.